Hey, okay, so now we're going to talk about Rebel Ragdoll Productions and what I was able to get done for the production house in 2017. So obviously, no movies came out this year, much to my chagrin, although that has not stopped my work and my work ethic. So as you guys might recall, my original goal when I set up the production house at the beginning of 2017, like literally in early January 2017, was to write, direct, shoot, and edit and also market and sell not one, but two full feature horror films. Yes, I know. Insane, right? Crazy insane. But obviously that didn't happen. But what did happen is that I did develop not the second film, but the first film. Or rather, I continue to develop it. It's called SANDMAN. You guys have heard about it all year long. It is a paranormal horror slash psychological horror full feature film. And that's actually all I'm going to say about it for now. I don't want to ruin any of like, the juicy bits or like the hook or anything like that. But it's not going to be a super long film, but it'll be about an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes max. So we're trying to keep it short and sweet. Maybe even like an hour 25. That might be a little too short for the market, but we'll see. So definitely have been working on SANDMAN, working on the outline. The goal is slash was to finish the outline by the end of December. We'll see how that works. But that is the number one thing we have been working on this year, in conjunction with taking this really amazing, and maybe I shouldn't be talking about this here because I have a whole separate segment for personal creative development, but I'm going to go into it a little bit. I took this year an amazing horror screenplay writing class, and from that class, I got a really amazing step-by-step sort of guide through how to write a horror film, from creating the general plot to creating the horror plot and the reveal plot. I mean, they teach you how to do it in all these amazing layers. And by taking that class, not only did I learn a lot, but I was also able to generate a horror screenwriting template from what I was learning in that class. And if you just joined the podcast, you would not have heard about this. But if you've been listening the entire year, you would have heard about this horror screenwriting template that I've created. And it's been really helpful in terms of writing SANDMAN. So that's actually been going really well, if not as quickly as I have wanted it to go. Also, just did like the basic stuff one needs to officially open a production house, which is that I purchased all of my starter filmmaking equipment and filmmaking software. Either purchased it or I'm guerrilla using it via the school, because we get some really amazing free access to the Adobe Creative Suite here, which includes Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects, and all that other great stuff you need for filmmaking. We also have access to Avid, but not through like a remote access panel. We have to actually go into the school and use Avid. So just getting all those resources together has been important. I feel as though, even though, again, I'm not as far along in the process as I would like to be, having equipment and working on a script and having a name and a logo are really great places to start. And that's the second part of it, that I was actually able to finish this year. I've actually commissioned and finished the Rebel Ragdoll Productions logo, and I am totally in love with it. You guys probably would have seen it right before you clicked on this video in the blog post. It's this just like gorgeous silhouette of like a really powerful woman with hair blowing back, and the Rebel Ragdoll Productions name and title is a part of her body, and it's just, the artist was amazing. And yes, I did find him on Fiverr, Black Veru. That's BlackVeroo. If you're interested, he does the best logos for a really affordable price for commercial use and exclusive use. So check him out. Anyway, that was a side note. But yes, I'm super proud of that logo, and that has definitely been a part of our achievements this year, having that commissioned. And in addition to that, I've been engaging in a process that you guys might know about if I've mentioned it or if you've been paying attention, called shadow development. Okay, so shadow development for me is When I'm developing a property, doing world building, researching, a little writing here and there, plotting, character design, just deepening the theme, restructuring things, like all those different things that I do behind the scenes, I call shadow development, because the work that I'm doing on those particular projects is literally just helping to push the projects along. It's not because these projects are scheduled to release at any point in the near future, but I do believe that it's important to keep working on a lot of your projects, just little by little, as you're focusing on a main project, as you have ideas for your other project, as you come across interesting new information or epiphanies or have revelations about your projects. It's good to take a little bit of time to develop your other projects to make sure that they're staying sort of active in your subconscious. So, and I actually don't go into shadow development deliberately trying to pick on a project to develop specifically. It really sort of just like naturally emerges from the things that I'm doing. So the two production house projects that I've been shadow developing this year include the Immortal TV series and the At His Right Hand TV series. And Immortal, to be very honest, after SANDMAN, will, God willing, and if we have the money and the resources, will be Rebel Ragdoll Productions' first independent TV series. And when I say TV series, I don't mean like TV shorts. I mean full episodes from 45 minutes long to an hour long in actual seasons. So Immortal itself will be 7 seasons long. That's it. None of my TV series for Rebel Ragdoll exceeds 7 series. I think once you get to 7, you really start to wear down the novelty. You start to sort of lose momentum. Things start to get repeated and start to get a little old. I like to keep things, neat, succinct, and fresh. And 7 is just like a nice number, So Immortal itself, and I'm not going to tell you guys what it's about because that's also a project that's very near and dear to my heart and something I do want to produce and direct and write independently with a writer's team and a writer's room, and by also hiring directors, so that directors of color, LGBT directors, and female directors, women directors, just different directors from different backgrounds. So that's the plan, to independently direct and produce that, and to hire the people that I want to hire, who are going to understand the cultural, knowledge that they need to know to be able to write this series in an amazing way. So I worked on that this year. And then I also shadow developed another TV series I would like to produce somewhere far off in the future called At His Right Hand, which is literally angels meshed up with crime noir, like mafia type of storytelling. So if you think of like Sin City meets The Godfather meets the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah, then you'll understand what At His Right Hand is basically about. And then finally, I did 2 things that I felt were super important to my personal process, and that is I really started to learn more about the filmmaking process and about what's important to me as a director at various stages of the process. And based on at least what I know about myself in a preliminary sense, I have created a director's process and roadmap, basically a protocol and a checklist for myself as a director as I am taking a concept from idea to full production. And then I've also developed a larger filmmaking protocol for the actual production house itself. So basically, how do we conceptualize projects? What do we expect? When I say we, I mean like the company itself. I know it's just me right now, but just like bear with me. So in terms of our filmmaking protocol, the protocol essentially sets up a pathway of how an idea in general goes from idea to full production. Not for me as a director, but at the actual company. Like if there's a great idea that, for example, like one of my partners comes up with, like my writing partners or collaborators come up with, what is the process by which the company evaluates the idea, protects the writer, protects itself, and develops that idea into a full production. So I've developed those two protocols. I think it's important to develop a specific way of working. And this might feel premature because I haven't actually developed any television or films yet, but I like to at least have some kind of attack plan before I just jump into things that I don't know much about, and have some sort of step-by-step guide as to, what needs to be done at each stage of the process. So, for example, let's say there's a brand new series. One of my writers or collaborators wants to pitch to Rebel Ragdoll Productions, and let's call it Concubine. That's one of the concepts that's actually on my project slate right now. And, they say, hey, Colby, I want to pitch Concubine for, development and release in the next 2 to 3 years. So, the protocol as it stands now would be that they would submit like a proposal. And I really like the setup right now of Rebel Ragdoll Productions because it's a very open sort of submission idea creation process where they can basically submit their idea after like signing off on not only, NDA stuff, but also, hey, we're not going to sue you kind of paperwork because, people love to sue. It gets evaluated by the team. We send some feedback and it's like a development process, so we're not saying, hey, this is a hard yes or a hard no. These are the questions that we have and blah, blah, blah. And then once the collaborator sends back a response, like we would then invite that person to come in and pitch, but like would give them homework prior to that. For example, creating the entire story Bible, creating a character packet or character list, giving us a sample season. Like what does the first season look like? What does the entire 7-season series look like? And most importantly, what would the pilot look like? And I hope in my journey as like a producer, director, writer, that at that point I will have created a lot of these templates and handbooks, so that brand new writers can sit down with a new idea and go through our Rebel Ragdoll Productions protocol and be able to find out how to write a story Bible or learn from us how to write a story Bible, so that when it's time to pitch and they have to bring their materials in, they don't have to go and find, some guru somewhere to tell them how to basically put together every single part of the packet that we're looking for. So they would have the packet, they would come in and pitch, we would give feedback, we would decide on like what the budget is and see if like we could swing it and see if it's marketable. And then we would give the writer like a yes or no. But the great thing is that, hopefully, at least I'm hoping that this writer would be already working with us full time. So if they're idea gets picked up, then that's great, and they can move from like writer to like showrunner status or something. But if it doesn't, like they still have like a relatively well-paying gig, that will last some odd seasons, ideally. Again, I'm very brand new to this entire process, and I can't tell you exactly how every little thing is going to go. But I do feel very empowered to create my own personal process for myself and for the company, being that I'm an independent producer and production company. I can run my company however I want. And I'm hoping that it will work. I'm hoping that creating this sort of pipeline, like this internal pipeline for how projects get made from the inside, I hope that will help writers to feel empowered in not only owning their own ideas and their own shows, but also provide, like, they have access to the environment, I hope, to learn how to write on a staff, to learn how to put together certain parts or all parts of an actual television series or what have you. And we'll have hopefully the programs in place to teach them how to show run, and to how to manage a team and stuff like that. So I definitely developed that this year. That was for me very important, even if it's premature. It was important for me to get ahead of that, to start thinking about where exactly I wanted Rebel Ragdoll Productions to end up in, 5-10 years. And just think about how we're going to deal with those projects when they come up, because if we make enough money and we're in the industry long enough, we're going to want to start cultivating those ideas from within, and also taking pitches and submissions from outside of the company as well. So that's basically what I did for Rubber Ragdoll Productions. It felt pretty productive this year, and I wasn't so hard on myself for not having finished the film, because films sometimes take a damn decade to finish. So the fact that I even have all of Act 1 pretty much outlined and finished, to me is a miracle, considering just the general timeline of films and also all the other things that I'm doing. I try to keep in mind that while I'm not hitting all of my goals for the production house or anything else, that there's still some really amazing, fantastic things going on, and I am working really hard to make sure that I can make some significant progress throughout the year. So certain places I hit some great goals, others I missed, but I feel very empowered and very triumphant where the production house is concerned. And we're looking forward to hopefully another great development year in 2018, if not a production year. So we'll see. All right, I'll see you guys in the next segment. Bye.